Have you exhausted the lands between, yearning for fresh challenges and forgotten secrets? Well, fret no more. Shadow of the Erdtree, the highly anticipated DLC for Elden Ring, is here. Today we'll delve into its mysteries, from breathtaking new landscapes to formidable bosses guarding forgotten lore. And if you thought the lands between was already a wild ride, just wait until you see what's lurking in the shadows. FromSoftware went all out with this DLC. They went ahead and gave us a whole new map, which is bigger than Limgrave. Yeah, you heard that right, bigger than Limgrave. We're talking haunted grasslands, fiery caverns, and mystical ruins that are just begging to be explored. It's like they took the essence of Elden Ring and cranked it up. Now, if you're wondering what new terrors await, let's just say the Shadow of the Erdtree bosses are not here to play nice. We've got over 10 new bosses, including Mesmer the Impaler and the Ghost Flame Dragons. I mean, Mesmer alone is enough to give Melania a run for her money, but trust me, you're gonna need all the help you can get from spirit ashes, new weapons, and some serious guts. But it's not just about the bosses, because this DLC is packed with new weapons and gear. FromSoftware gave us 8 new weapon categories to experiment with. So whether you're a fan of swinging colossal swords or casting powerful incantations, there's something for everybody. And let's not forget the completely revamped leveling system that's been introduced in the DLC. In order to keep up with the tough enemies and bosses, farming for runes is no longer a wise option. Instead, there are items called Erdtree Fragments that boost your overall damage and damage negation, alongside revered spirit fragments that increase Torrent's health and buff your spirit ashes. You'll find these scattered all around the map, which honestly is a really good implementation that encourages exploration. And that's just a taste of what's to come. Stick around as we dive deeper into the Land of Shadow while sharing some tips and strategies to help you conquer this colossal expansion. So sharpen your blades and let's get to it. Let's start by talking about the new map, because the Land of Shadow is enormous and packed with places to explore. First up, we've got Gravite Plane. Yeah, the name itself says it all. This eerie, mist-covered landscape is filled with crumbling tombs and restless spirits. Sounds like the perfect place for an afternoon stroll, right? Just watch your back for those annoying undead. And then there's Castle Ensis, a fortress-like structure that's crawling with soldiers and mysterious contraptions. It's like Stormvale Castle, but on steroids, as each area is interconnected, which makes exploration feel seamless. And you'll stumble upon hidden paths, secret doors, and of course, tons of loot. But the real beauty of this new map lies in how it ties back to the original game, because you'll see familiar landmarks in the distance and uncover lore that adds depth to the world we already knew and love. It's like coming home, but to a whole new set of nightmares to deal with. Speaking of nightmares, the new regions are packed with environmental hazards. Poison swamps? Check. Lava flows? Double check. And let's not forget about those pesky traps that FromSoftware loves to sprinkle all about. Always keep an eye out, or you might just find yourself taking an unexpected dirt nap. The exploration that this new DLC brings is top-notch, because with each corner you turn, there's a new secret or a hidden challenge. It's like FromSoftware took everything we loved about Elden Ring's exploration and made it even better. The new map's exciting, but the real question is, what's the story behind the new DLC? Shadow of Erdtree takes us on a journey through the Land of Shadow, a place shrouded in mystery and danger where the main storyline revolves around Miquella, a character we've all been curious about, and it also reveals the past of Queen Marika, as well as her people while shedding light on their backstory and their connection to the Erdtree. We're also introduced to new NPCs, each with their quests and stories, where some are allies and others not so much. The lore is rich and adds layers to the already intricate world of Elden Ring, from encountering ancient texts to hidden relics and echoes of the past that tie back to the main narrative. One of the standout characters in this DLC is Mesmer the Impaler. This guy, he's the stuff of nightmares. From a tragic backstory to a menacing presence, defeating Mesmer's no small feat. But the rewards make it well worth your time. His storyline's woven into the fabric of the DLC, which makes him a central figure in the journey. The narrative also goes deeper into the story of the Erdtree and its influence over the lands between as we uncover secrets that were hinted at the main game but never fully explained. It's like peeling back layers of an onion. Each revelation makes the world feel even more alive and interconnected. But what's really cool is how the story's told. FromSoftware's signature style of environmental storytelling is in full force here, as you have to pay attention to item descriptions, listen to NPC dialogue, and observe the world around you. Every detail, no matter how small, contributes to the grand tapestry of the Elden Ring lore. So if you're a lore junkie like me, you're in for a treat, because the story in Shadow of the Erdtree is rich, engaging, and full of surprises. But enough with the story. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the bosses that you'll face in the Shadow of the Erdtree, and see how their tales tie into this epic narrative. One of the bosses that you'll most likely encounter is Rana the Twin Moon Knight. And if you think her name sounds familiar, well, that's because she's the sister of Rana, Queen of the Full Moon, that you fight in the base game. Her moveset mostly consists of carrying sorcery, just like her sister. However, this time she has a pair of swords that she loves to swing around in your face. Soaring onto the scene of gruesome bosses next up, we have the Ghost Flame Dragons. These new types of dragons are straight out of a fantasy horror novel. Their main attacks are Icy Breath and Massive Tail Sweeps, and trust me, you're going to want to gear up with some high frost resistance, and keep your distance while using ranged weapons, or even spells to chip away at its health. There's tons of cool new bosses in the DLC, but we can't spoil them all for you now, can we? Just know that each boss in Shadow of the Erdtree is a unique challenge designed to test different aspects of your gameplay. So whether you're a seasoned veteran or a newcomer to the series, these battles are going to keep you on your toes. Okay, so we've got over 10 new bosses to test your mental health. But what new shiny toys do we get to play with in this expansion? Shadow of the Erdtree introduces 8 new weapon categories. From great katanas to perfume bottles, there's something to suit every playstyle. These new additions don't just add variety, they open up new strategies and ways to tackle the challenges ahead while letting you experiment with different builds, as well as find what works best for you. But it's not just about the weapons and spells themselves, because each one has its lore and backstory that ties into the world of Elden Ring. As you read through the item descriptions, it gives you a deeper understanding of the Land of Shadow and its inhabitants. So whether you're a melee warrior, a cunning sorcerer, or a bit of both, Shadow of the Erdtree has something new and exciting for everybody. Now, what would an Elden Ring expansion be without some juicy secrets? Keep an eye out for faint glows and suspicious walls, because Shadow of the Erdtree is packed with hidden areas, as well as secret bosses, so you never know what might be lurking behind them. And let's not forget about the environmental storytelling we slightly hinted at earlier. Pay attention to little details like carvings on walls or abandoned campfires, because these often lead to hidden lore pieces or unlock new side quests. But the beauty of this DLC is how it encourages you to explore every nook and cranny, as these developers packed so much content into every corner that it's almost impossible to discover everything in one playthrough. So keep your eyes peeled, trust your instincts, and always be ready for the unexpected. Oh, and let's not forget about the Easter eggs. From subtle nods to other FromSoftware titles, to lore-rich items that hint at future expansions, there's so much to discover as the Land of Shadow is full of surprises. The lore and story elements we encounter here add depth to the characters and events that we've already experienced. For instance, the backstory of Miquella the Kind and Marika is expanded, giving us new insights while making the whole narrative even richer. Plus, many of the new weapons, spells, and items are connected to characters and events from the main game, which is like finding missing pieces of a puzzle you didn't even know you were working on. So whether you're revisiting old haunts or uncovering new secrets, Shadow of the Erdtree makes the world of Elden Ring feel even more alive and interconnected. And that wraps up our dive into the Shadow of the Erdtree. This DLC is an absolute gem of an expansion, packed with new areas to explore and fearsome bosses to conquer. And let's not forget the deep lore that it offers. The whispers from the Erdtree's shadow grow stronger, but one question remains unanswered. Have we truly found the horrors and wonders that lie beyond the veil? Stay tuned, because the mysteries of the lands between are far from exhausted.